effort. They played hard, and that's what we've told these guys. We've preached. We want them to play hard. We want them to play physical, and they did that. They were in one of those games. You need to make sure it's not just one series. It's not three. It's not four. First seven we were pretty good. There were still mistakes in those, but we were able to dig ourselves out of them. When we let up the one big one there, which we got to be able to. One, we misfit it, and then two, we just got to be able to get it to the ground, turn it a 9-yard gain. All right, put the ball down. We preached all week. Just keep putting the ball down, make them earn it, especially in that weather. So that one was, those are the ones, those glitch plays where we got to get out.
How happy were you with the open field tackling? It looked a lot improved. Like looking at the Mississippi State game where it struggled, but there were some really nice plays on tape.
There were some nice plays. Happy is probably not the right word, but I was pleased. But I think from every coach to every player is that's what we expect, and that's our standard. We have to make those tackles, and we knew going into the game that they were going to push the ball out to the edge, and some corners, some safeties were going to have to make some of those edge tackles, and a large majority of them were made. Obviously the hard thing about playing DB, everybody just thinks about the pass game and when the ball goes over your head, but they don't realize in the run game it's the same way. If you miss a tackle out on the perimeter, it becomes a big play, and everybody sees it. Not as many people see a missed tackle or a misfit inside the box, because someone from a second level can make it right. Someone from a third level can make it right. If you're on that third level, if you're a DB, whether it be run or pass game, everything's magnified. But for the most part, I thought they performed well. Again, some things we need to clean up, and which is good, because we haven't hit our peak yet.
Mark said some of your linebackers beat up like Cash and Pascal. Talk about the guys that perhaps stepping up, in their stead.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get to this point in an SEC grind, you're going to have bumps and bruises and nicks, and so this is that point when some younger guys, are going to have to step up, and there's a chance that some of those younger guys could see the field this week. Some of those freshmen, or even some of those redshirt freshmen or sophomores that are going to have played limited reps might get some more substantial reps this week, and we're just going to have to keep rolling. We're going to have to try to stay fresh. They do a good job of pushing the tempo at times, and so we'll have to stay on top of it, make sure that we don't get gassed.
What's the biggest key for Yusuf and progress is
consistency. I think when you look at really good players, and you look at players that progress and has progressed as well as he has, the common denominator are their guys that show up every single day. They show up at practice, they show up at weights, they show up in the meetings, they're dialed in. It's an everyday process for them. And the ones that flash, but then they drift at practice. They may flash in a game, they may have a good practice, and those are the ones that as a coach, they drive you nuts at times, because you don't ever know what you're going to get. The thing with Yusuf is that he's been consistent, so then the mistakes that you correct, are going to get corrected, and that's why he's been able to elevate his game and really step up and be one of those crucial pieces, in sort of the evolution of our defense.
Did Stanley putting his name in the transfer portal something you all seen coming a little bit, or was that coming this week?
Yeah, that's a question for coach.
What kind of challenge does Kelly Bryant present?
He's a talented young man. Obviously, he's experienced. It's not like it's a transfer into the SEC and it feels like it's a big stage. You can tell he's really calm back there. He's got a really live arm, and everybody knows how athletic he can be. So he provides that dual threat. He can run if you don't contain him in the pocket. We've got to be smart in our rush lanes. And like I said, he can make the throws, and he's got some really dangerous receivers. You know, they can all run, and if he gets them the ball in space, you know, they can make some things happen. So that's the other thing you got to really be mindful of when you combine those two together are broken plays. He extends a play, a guy with speed's able to break away from a coverage and plaster situation, and then you've got, you know, speed and space, and that's always a bad combination for defense.
If you guys have to deal with another bad weather game, how much can that affect Kelly Bryant or the entire offense for Missouri?
You know, I mean, I'm sure it might have some effect, you know, more from a playing calling standpoint, you know, throwing a wet football. I think more than the rain, you know, wind is a big factor, especially in the throw game. But I would anticipate, you know, from here on out, everybody's going to try to run the football. We've got to do a good job of trying to stop that. You know, that only heightens, you know, when it becomes a rain game. And so we'll see what that weather poses. You know, obviously we've been, you know, we're fortunate enough to have played in that condition before, you know, playing in it last week. So our guy won't affect our guys, hopefully that much. And we'll be ready to go.
Everybody good?